you don't want to be chasing someone. Because if you're chasing someone, it means that you're trying to catch them. If you're trying to catch someone, and that implies they don't want to be caught.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to 30 Years and Running. I'll be your host, Christian, and each week my friends and I will be looking at life seen through the eyes of 30-somethings. Whether it's things like dating, social media, or mental health, we'll be looking at the past, present, and future of being in your 30s. Do my vocal once, isn't it?
I was going to say, is that a song?
No, that's not even a song. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet.
So it was Peter Piper.
I thought you were saying pedo.
Peter. Hey, Peter.
Griffin. Peter Griffin.
I think about the game that they played, that board game. I want to say who.
I thought you were talking about Jackal. It's a Jackal.
It's the same game. Yeah, it's the same game. Yeah.
It wasn't right the first time. It wasn't good right the second time. God. Do you know what? I haven't watched Family Guy in time, but yeah, I forget how funny it is, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a regular feature on ITV. Was it ITV?
Is it on ITV?
ITV.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I might have to tune into that still. But yeah, before tuning into that, I beg people tune into this. Welcome to
Smooth
30 Years and Running. I thought that was kind of smooth, to be fair.
Good talk, it is.
I've got a man like Nooky back, to be fair. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good.
I'm feeling fluffy.
You look hella fluffy, bro. Like Orville the Duck fluffy. It's bringing up them school vibes, to be fair. So
I've been getting a bit roasted at work for it as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be helped in these times, to be fair. So it's all good, man.
It's bushy though, man. It's real bushy.
Hella bushy, but it's alright, to be fair. Pause.
That's a minor pause.
Yeah, no, I don't really need to pause that, but yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, we digress. So today's topic is called Men Are Not Hunters. So this one for me is just, I was saying to you off camera actually, that this one for me it feels like a lot of the times when I talk to girls, and not even necessarily always in a dating way, they could just be girlfriends, but I keep hearing this like recurring like narrative about men being hunters, and I suppose what I mean by that, and the way they kind of explain it to me is, you know, men love the chase, like we love to chase women, and you know, the things that come with that would be things like you know, women feel like they shouldn't make the first move because they feel like men are the hunters and they should be the proactive one out of the two, really. So but I don't know about you, but for me, like, I kind of wanted to debunk that myth, because I feel like, well, first of all, if we're getting really technical with it, right? If we're going back to cavemen times, like, cavemen weren't good hunters.
What do you mean?
Cavemen weren't good hunters. They were.
Hey,
they were good scavengers.
They could bring out a saber tooth. They
were shook
woolly mammoth.
No, they were shook of saber tooths. They were good scavengers, and they picked like hella berries and roots and all that kind of stuff. But they actually weren't good hunters. So if we're being technical,
hunt and gatherer, though, isn't it? They gather.
I know, but I feel like if you looked at like the majority of their diet, it wouldn't be meat. I think a lot of it was more kind of vegetable based. Anyway, that's kind of boring. Like, I was just trying to get to literally like a really dickish way to talk about the root of where this came from.
He just needs to hit the gym a little bit more, I think.
Who does?
That caveman that's struggling to hit that saber tooth.
I mean, shit, what? He's trying to bring down a saber tooth, G. Like, Jesus. But anyway, like, my point is, like, even at the very kind of like epitome of or at the very kind of origin of man, I don't even think, you know, men were hunters. And even when you think about, like, I'll just literally just think about now, like Adam and Eve, like the first man supposedly, he wasn't a hunter. Like, he was in the Garden of Eden to look after the garden. He was a gardener. He wasn't a hunter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a gatherer, man. He's just seeing fruit.
That's what I mean. He was just seeing fruit and all that stuff. So yeah, I lie. And titties. I lie. That's what you're going to be seeing in the Garden of Eden. But anyway, but my point is, like, even when you kind of go even when you go right back to the very first men, or the first, you know, representations of men, they're not hunters. And when you even kind of fast forward into the modern day, I kind of think that's even more so the case. Like, for me personally anyway, like, if I have a choice between chasing the girl or...
Yeah, so I was going to say, so for like obviously ease of the conversation. What are we
Mm.
sort of defining the hunter? Like, how's it? How we sort of?
I think the hunter mainly in this case is, you know, the chasing a woman
Yeah.
in a romantic sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I think that can come in different guises. So yeah, I think that's the way I'd define it in this sense, really. But what I was going to say is, like, for me personally, if I have a choice, if I weighed up a choice between if I had to chase a girl versus if I could not chase a girl and kind of take the path of least resistance to kind of get her attention, then I don't know about you, but I'm always taking the path of least resistance.
I think okay. So obviously to get into it, so like, I mean, obviously disclaimer for myself. Obviously, I'm not on the market. This is obviously retrospectively talking about it.
Calm down, ladies. Don't try and slide in his DMs.
But for me,
PG.
like
Pause.
for me, being a hunter, I think that essentially, as a man, you're meant to take the majority of the hunting when it comes to, if you're talking about dating, yeah, a guy is meant to hunt. He's meant to be the person that initiates the conversation. He's meant to be the person that initiates the real courtship. And women, they have to be the ones that are a little bit more submissive to begin with, giving a little bit as well. But yeah, for the most part, I feel like that's quite a traditional way of dating.
And to be honest, I've got no problem with that as well, to be clear. Like, I've got no problem initiating the conversation and being the more proactive one out of the bunch. I think my problem comes when there's no kind of reciprocity in that. Like, I'm happy to kind of chase, but if I feel like the chase is going to fall on deaf ears, or you know, it's like I say, it's not going to be reciprocated, and I'm not going to get that same effort back from the person, then yeah, I think being a hunter is kind of pointless in that respect. And like I say, like, if I had the choice between having the chase or doing the chase and being chased, or, you know, even just no chase whatsoever, then I'm definitely picking the one which involves kind of like no chase.
Do you want to be chased?
I mean, yeah, sure. Like, who wouldn't want to be chased? Like, whether you're a man or a woman, like, you always, like, people, you know, we always want to feel wanted, don't we? So so basically, if a girl is chasing me, I'm not going to feel any type of way with it, because I've got some kind of preconceived idea about what a man should be in a relationship, or in a romantic sense, or what a woman should be in a romantic sense. I'm seeing it as, right, this girl is showing interest in me.
I'm not gonna lie. Do you know what?
That's flattering to me.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I see both sides of the argument. I see like both sides of the coin. But for me, I do actually resonate a little bit more with the more traditional element, where it's the guy's gonna make the first move, and like, so let's
Predator.
Predator. Like,
Yeah.
I had been
And man's jaws over here.
like, what's it that from the actual Predator? With I've got the hair like that.
It's called Predator.
Yeah. Just some alien out there just trying to.
I think he's just people refer to him as Predator.
Yeah,
to be fair,
yeah.
So.
But
Okay,
I think,
you're
like,
the Predator. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, if you think traditionally, like, the guy's usually meant to make the first move. If it's a relationship, the man is meant to be like the breadwinner. Obviously, like, some of these are quite old fashioned ideals. You know, you look at 50s, 60s, or whatever. Like, the guy would be going out to work and he'd bring back the bread, sort of thing, and the woman was meant to be submissive. I know we are obviously in a modern day age where things are changing. Definitely, it's a little more fluid in terms of what everything is defined as. But at the same time, I do think that you have to hold on to certain elements of what is known to be, you know, quite traditional, and that the way that we've always sort of understood gender roles, really, as it were. And I think that there has to be a bit more on the guy to make that effort as the hunter, as opposed to being the huntee.
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree with that. I agree in terms of, I think there's some kind of deep-rooted beliefs in our society that, you know, the guy should, you know, be the hunter. So I agree in that sense that it's kind of, it's already ingrained in our society that that's the way things are. What I don't agree so much with is the man has to make the first move. But in saying that, when I've spoken to numerous girlfriends about this, like, they refuse to ever...
Yeah.
Huh?
Numerous, yeah.
Friends who are girls, to be clear.
Yeah, you got to be political on this one, bro.
Right.
That's how I'm playing.
Such a dick. But basically, when I've talking to friends who are girls about this, like, they've said on numerous occasions, like, you know, even if they saw their dream guy at a club, for example, and they knew that they'd never see him again, and they knew that the guy hadn't kind of clocked her first, like they still wouldn't make the first move. It's almost like, I'm not being funny, but it's almost like some girls like feel like they would die if they shot their shot first.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it,
Because we've had to suffer that shit for as long as I can remember.
Well, yeah, I don't get it. I just think I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just think if you like someone, then why shouldn't you make the first move? If you're,
do you know what's funny?
Like, why shouldn't you be the hunter?
Do you know what's funny? And I feel like this actually might be down to like a career sort of thing. So like my life of work has been solely really sort of focused and circulated around sales. And the whole idea of sales is that, you know, you're trying to get business from clients or from companies or whatever, and it's a numbers game. It's always, you try to speak to as many companies as possible, try to speak to as many prospects and as many potential clients as possible, you know, expecting that you know, one or two are going to be like interested. And I think that from that experience, I've definitely, that I would say has played a factor in terms of, you know, when I have you know, been on the market trying to date, and that, like, I would be trying to just speak to as many as possible. And so then, so I would always be a hunter. That was just the way that I would see it. And I wouldn't expect the woman to make that much of an effort in the first stage. I'd expect myself to be the one that does it all.
Yeah. But did you get discouraged at any point when, you know, say for example, you're doing all this hunting, but then you might in some instances not be getting that reciprocation back? Like, did you ever get to a point where you just kind of like felt like you were chasing or hunting, and you felt like, you know, because someone, they could have been interested in you for all you know, but because of these kind of gender roles, and because they feel like they didn't want to make the first move, and, you know, showing too much interest made it seem like they were too much of a prey. Did it kind of dissuade you basically from being that hunter, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think like you go through stages. So like you go through the initial stage of getting used to like being on the dating scene and trying
the talking stage.
And, you know, obviously in that you start to experience those forms of rejection from them, where it's like, they're not responding too much in texts, or, you know, they're planning to meet you and then they've become a bit flaky. They don't seem to be so interested in you. So then you think, okay, cool, what do I do here? Do I back off, or do I continue to hunt? Do I go more in for the kill mode, like continue to try
more in for the kill, you know? What,
mate? It is
like, I know, that's a good analogy.
It is like a predator trying to catch prey.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So sorry, just quickly. So on that
word,
I
touched the nerve.
No, not even touch the word. I think the word prey is quite an interesting one as well, because I think if we're talking about in a hunting analogy, then that makes the woman the prey, right? And that doesn't sit that well with me either, because it again, it kind of goes back to that point now you're making around, you know, the classic gender roles of women being more submissive than the men. But I mean,
yeah, I was going to even with that, I was going to say, like, there is going to be a subconscious
but I just think
context to it, whereby, you know, we refer to them as prey, because it has been, that's the dynamic. It has been the dynamic of the guy makes the first move. So like naturally, you know, if you're looking in nature, the predator makes the first move on the prey. The prey's not out here wanting to be caught, obviously. And then same like if we think about the times we used to like go clubbing and that, girls will give you an eye, and that's like an indication of their interest. But it had to be you that would go over there and
I get
walk
that.
Your spear and that, and just
with your
catch
vodka,
that gazelle
with your vodka Red Bull in your hand or something like that.
Your leopard
but
skin,
I just think
your long cloth and that as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I just think this whole hunter analogy is flawed, especially when you think about it in the context of, like you say, women being prey, and obviously we're in a modern society where we're kind of constantly trying to strive for, you know, gender equality. And we even kind of talked about it the other week, didn't we, on the Men We Need to Do Better episode. But I just think if you're basically talking about men being hunters, then, you know, by proxy, you're talking about women being prey, I guess. And I think that's kind of dangerous or dicey territory to be talking about that, especially when, like I say, we're trying to promote gender equality and all that kind of stuff, really. So I think the analogy is flawed. I think the actual execution and the fact that I don't, like I say, I don't think all men are hunters. I consider myself a gatherer anyway. Well, I'd rather gather than
Yo, what
hunt.
you gathering, bro?
Fucking roots and juices and berries,
Nuts
isn't
and
it?
berries.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I don't mind the chase. I understand the chase, and I'm quite happy to be proactive, so long as the effort is reciprocated. But at the same time,
So what happens in a situation where, like, okay, so the traditional definition of how it should be between a man and a woman is that she does the waiting, you do all the legwork to get her.
mm,
What if you don't do that legwork and then she doesn't do the legwork?
nothing happens. Then, I
Nothing
guess.
happens.
Mm.
Move on to the next.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much to be honest. But I mean, I need to see something. I'm happy to make the first move.
Yeah,
But then from
yeah.
that point, if it's one way traffic and I'm always the one being like messaging them first or asking them if they want to do something and always being the one who's having to instigate the engagement, then yeah, I'm gonna lock off because I'm just gonna think, she doesn't seem interested and I'm not getting that reciprocity back.
Yeah. But I think that is not a black and white sort of situation, not black and white answer.
Yeah.
Especially when we look at, so I've always thought about the way that society is today, especially when it comes to the internet and all these dating apps. Like it is a lot more accessible, whereby people have a lot more options on what they can allow themselves to have in their life. They can decide whether they want to pursue one person or the other. If you look at, let's say, you're pursuing a girl and she seems a bit like she's not on it, she seems a bit off, and you're pushing for that pursuit. That in itself is a bit of a toxic situation whereby you're having to hunt for it. And then equally in the other way, if she has to do it to you, it seems like there's not enough interest there for it to sort of progress
Yeah,
further.
of course. It definitely works both ways, to be fair. Yeah, like I say, it's about that.
I'd actually want to ask you, yeah, because obviously,
Ask me what.
what's your experience in terms of girls hunting you? That many? Huh?
I mean, not even.
God damn.
No, I mean it's happened. Like it's like anything really. Like you get some girls who are more proactive than others, to be honest. But I mean, me personally, like I find that really attractive about someone. Like if a girl is,
Swear down.
yeah, of course. Like if because it's basically just a girl showing interest in me, and like we said, like it doesn't necessarily happen too often. So when it does happen, it's actually quite surprising and quite.
What are you lying for?
No, I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking
okay.
about myself. Like, not too many. I don't know too many girls who are like super.
Oh,
proactive.
sorry. I thought you were making that like.
No, I wasn't talking about me specifically, but yeah, in terms of my experiences, like,
That's because girls are scared.
well, this is what I'm saying. Like,
I've seen that from conversations. I've seen that like they have a fear of rejection. Like,
but it's bonkers because like I said to you before, like I've asked a couple of friends like if they saw their dream guy, they just wouldn't approach him.
yeah, what the fuck is that?
For no other reason apart from they're scared of rejection.
But it's your dream guy.
I know. And then just going back to dating apps, for example, the one which kind of really kind of puts this in focus is Bumble. I don't know if you've ever been on Bumble when you were single, but basically the mechanic on Bumble is you match with someone, but the catch is that the girl has to initiate the conversation.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have like checked out that app
Yeah.
like years ago, and when I did, I got confused by it. I was like, where's the communication?
Well, this is my point because you'll match with someone, and basically they've got 24 hours to talk to you. Otherwise, the match is done. But I'd say 90% of the people who I match with on Bumble, like you never speak to because the woman's like afraid to initiate conversation, even though the whole mechanic is kind of based around them making the first move. And I suppose empowering women to do that as well. But even behind, a mechanic that's set out for them kind of as clearly as that. And, there is no fear of rejection in a club and being seen by people. Like you're doing it behind closed doors. Like there's still this thing about, some girls not wanting to kind of initiate the conversation. But sorry, just circling back on the point around my own personal experiences with girls chasing me, like some of the best relationships I've had, excuse me, and some of the best kind of even some of the best girlfriends who I have who even started out as a romantic thing, like a lot of it's been because they've been proactive and they're the ones who, don't always message me first, but there's like give and take, to be honest. Like sometimes I message them first and vice versa. But I respect that, because when we're kind of thinking about it in the context of these gender roles that we talk about, and guys supposedly being the ones who always have to make first, I kind of respect the fact that they see that, but they still are willing to kind of do that themselves, and they're not kind of phased by that. Do you know what I mean? So my experiences are like only positive things have come out of girls who have been a bit more kind of proactive and acted as hunters rather than prey. Fucking hell, I hate calling them prey as well. That sounds like really Animal Planet.
Depends on how you say it, like prey.
You look in the camera when you prey.
Do you know what? I feel
It's
like
really creepy, but yeah.
I blame it on the yak. Yeah. The thing, I feel like I've not had the same sort of experience. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
what's your experience, if you want to talk about that?
Yeah, like I've I say like throughout my life, really, I've had to like, I feel like I've had
to fend girls off. You had to beat them off.
Nah. I feel like I've had to graft. I've had to graft. I've had to put the work into to get a girl on side. Like, like I think about, like, especially in, like, in the circles that I've grown up with, like, like some of the close friends that I've got, like some of them were like, they're very, like, no homo, they're very good looking guys, and I've
boy.
Easy now.
Yeah.
And I've seen for them, it's been quite easy for them to just get like girls in certain circumstances. I'm like, he's just there standing there, and then it's like, boom, they're just gravitating towards him. It's like, where's my gravitation? Like, I've got
where's my gravitational pull?
You know what I mean? Like, is my magnet not strong enough? So I was like, all right, cool. Let me hit
moving like Neptune, boy.
It's like
that weak pull, like moving like Pluto.
So
I'm joking. You're a strong Jupiter.
So I was like, let me hit that gym. Let me add something else to my repertoire. But no, it's just like, for me, it was just like, all right, cool. I need to be the person that is making the real hunting aspect of it all.
And on that point, did you enjoy the chase as well, or was it just more of like a means?
I mean, if it ended fruitfully, yeah.
But like my point is like if you had the choice, if you had the choice basically between doing the chase and being the hunter, or like you say, having more gravitational pull, like which would you prefer?
Shit, I don't want to be Pluto, like trying to grab Earth, like that's a mission.
What, so you'd rather do the hunting?
No. I'm saying, what I'm saying is like,
you'd rather be like a bigger
planet.
I don't know where this planet analogy is coming from.
I'm saying that I'd rather not be like Pluto going for Earth. I'd rather be like Mars. Mars going for Earth, innit? So like I've got a bit of a closer chance. It's not too much as a sort of effort.
Yeah.
I like a bit of a balance in it. I do like to have to chase though.
Do you?
Yeah, to an extent, innit? I don't want to be taking the piss out of. I don't want it to be where it's like every sort of effort I'm making is kind of disregarded. And at that point, and I was even like listening to a couple of guys that speak on this. So it's a guy called Stefan Speaks, and he was saying basically, if someone if you're like pursuing someone and they're just being a bit too standoffish and they're not showing that they're that level of interest that you need, then they're probably not interested.
Exactly.
And for me, it's like, I want to find that balance. I'd want to find that balance, where it's like, I don't want to feel like I've got you. I'd want to feel like I've got to work to get you, but not so much so that like the graft is too hard to the point where once you've got to the end ground, got to that end result, it's just like, well, was that worth it? And it's a hard balance to find. I think I think for me, like, I think personally, like when it comes to dating, I reckon that's probably like a really big factor when it comes to how long something will last afterwards. Because if let's say you were trying it with someone, and you spent months just grinding, doing everything, just sacrificing aspects of your life elsewhere, like you stopped focusing on your gym or work or whatever because you were pursuing this person, and then at the end of it, like, turned out to not be the person that you thought they'd be. You've then just wasted your time. You don't feel like you really want to sort of continue with that person. And I think that comes from just being in a situation where you are like a full-on hunter. You're not at that place where it's like a give and take sort of situation. It needs to be, can't just be hunt. and the other one's just like
Yeah. Well,
the prize.
yeah. I
Both
mean,
both need to be a prize at some point.
yeah. Well, I mean, not to go back to the animal kingdom again, but I
Mate,
will do.
we eat animals though. That's the thing.
Yeah. But I mean, when you think about cheetahs, for example, like cheetahs will basically give up a chase. I can't remember the exact time frame, but after a certain point, they will give up the chase because
It's because they're pussies.
because they
Literally,
know that they're
they're
wasting too
cats.
much. No, but they're wasting too much energy on something that they
Yeah,
think
yeah.
they might not actually catch. So it's that kind of risk reward, right? That risk reward, right? In terms of like, the amount you chase versus the kind of the reward that you're going to get back off it. So
But that's exactly
at some point,
that's exactly transferable to like humans.
yeah, well, I hope so because I was kind of happy with that analogy actually. But
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's a nice one.
But yeah, I think it's kind of similar. Like obviously, me personally, I'm happy to kind of chase to a point, but unless I see some kind of interest or if I see some kind of reciprocity, then I just think I'm wasting my time, to be honest. So I'll just stop, and then, there's not to get philosophical about it, but there's kind of plenty more fish in the sea type vibe. So if that chase didn't kind of end with the result that I wanted, then I kind of think that it just wasn't meant to be in that respect, basically.
I tell you what, I would love to hear like the opinion of a girl, if you was to bring on a girl to ask her the same question, because I feel like obviously our experience comes from a position where we are expected to do it, where we're expected to put our first step forward, and do you know what I feel like? I said this earlier. It's just like there are certain like notions of like being traditional and all that kind of stuff that for me does resonate, and I think that they should withstand like the length of time, the test of time. That obviously something that I think is and it's sort of like it will skirt over the idea of what gender roles are and what men can do and what women can do, and I think that's a fluid concept in itself. Men can do a lot of things that women can do and vice versa. But when you come to sort of that dynamic of man and woman, I definitely feel like there needs to be more of an onus on the man to take control in certain elements of it, and the dating aspect of that. If they're going to be, taking control of the courtship, 100%. I think that it does fall more with the man to be the hunter in that respect. And I think about like, sorry to sort of like keep going, but I think about like when I like first got into dating, like I would always be, or the notion of if I ask someone out, I pay for it all. Because it's me that's put my front forward to say, look, I'm interested in you. But if they was to ask me out, I wouldn't hold it against them to pay or do Dutch or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I make it a rule, regardless of whether I ask them out first or if they ask me out first, I always pay on the first date. Because I'm similar to you in terms of, I agree with you in terms of like there's certain things from a chivalry point of view that I think should stand the test of time, and one of those, in my opinion, is the whole kind of pay. Yeah, on the first date anyway. I think after that point, it's kind of up for debate really, but I just like to kind of, I suppose it's just me trying to show that I'm interested in, basically. It's not even like a man thing per se, although it's obviously kind of rooted in being a man, but it's my way of saying I want to show interest in you, and the least I can do with that is to kind of pay.
But I want to know if she's interested too. I remember.
Well, this is the thing, and I think there's this whole. Again, this is a bullshit phrase as well, but like treating me and keep keen.
Oh, fuck that shit.
I mean, but I feel like some girls like live and breathe that, and eventually they could potentially turn into ice queens as well.
Well, let them just
they're just completely standoffish and.
If that is their mantra, let them just live alone in it.
Yeah, but I think I genuinely think that some girls believe in that mantra, and if they're standoffish and they kind of appear uninterested and cold, that they'll get chased more, and guys will like them more, and maybe that is the case with some guys, basically. But I'm just saying, for me personally,
see that was another thing that
it doesn't work.
That was another because that was another thing that I did a little bit of reading on after you told me about this topic. So it's this guy, he's called Stefan Speaks. Anyone that like pays attention to this sort of like relationship guru sort of stuff, like he's quite a well-known name out there. But he was talking about that, just essentially. I lost my train of thought with that one.
No, that's right. We can. Do you know what? I was low key. I was literally just like, I was so interested in what was coming because I thought it was going to be a nugget. To be fair, is he a bit like is it Kevin Samuels, the guy you showed me?
Yeah, no, but Kevin Samuels is a little bit toxic.
Well, I mean, I'm not convinced by this guy. I think he's a little bit. I think he's a little bit rogue, to be honest. Not even a little bit rogue. I think he's.
Did you actually get to watch any of his stuff?
I watched just the clip that I saw of you. To be fair.
Yeah, so Kevin Samuels, like just to give a bit of reference to who Kevin Samuels is. So he's a bit of an older guy. I think he's in about his 50s. He's got some good ideas in terms of how you need to be in order to like to land the kind of person you're looking for. Like, but he's very brutal. He focuses a lot on something which is known as being a high value man and what it means to be a high value man and what a high value man looks for from a partner. And a lot of his content does revolve around him being quite brazen with the people that come on the show. And
I genuinely think so. Admittedly, I'm only judging this off the one clip that I saw with you, but I just feel like his stuff is kind of clickbaity, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
I think he's doing it for views.
100%, 100%. Some of it would be for views. 100%.
Yeah.
He is there to like rile up a few feathers and that. But I mean, there was a few things that I've taken from him. Like a lot of his stuff is quite just there for entertainment purposes, but he is very sort of like the man makes the money, the man does this, the man does that, and he sees the woman as more of a submissive role in that. And unless you have like a sort of arrangement or agreement with the person that you're going to be settling down with and you have a relationship with, I understand to an extent that kind of does need to withstand a bit, because there needs to be a dynamic where someone is doing one bit of the relationship and the other person is doing the other bit. Until you start, it can't be shared 50-50 because so.
Do you know what I think? Because I was just thinking about your courtship point, and I kind of disagree with it in terms of I don't think it's the courtship's just the onus should just be on the man. I think in terms of initiating that first contact, then yeah, I've got no problem with the man doing that. But I think in terms of the courtship itself, because it's like a courtship is like a collaborative thing, right? Like you go on dates together and you organize shit. So like for me, that's a two-way thing. Like it can't just always be one person trying to organize stuff, because that almost like that's not a courtship to me, to be honest. That's a fellowship. I don't even think that's like the opposite, to be fair.
Yeah,
but it's just like one-way traffic, basically, is what I'm saying.
That is a chase.
Yeah, that's a chase.
That is a chase. And that was that's actually what Stefan Speaks was talking about. You don't want to be chasing someone, because if you're chasing someone, it means that you're trying to catch them. If you're trying to catch someone, and that implies they don't want to be caught.
Facts, yeah.
And if they don't want to be caught, then
exactly. It's like, why are you chasing? Yeah,
why are you chasing? Why are you chasing first and foremost? But then, like number two, what the fuck happens when you catch them? You staying together? What?
You wrestle them down to the ground and force them to do whatever.
I've actually that actually interests me as well, you know, because I wonder, like, so let's say that you're in a scenario when you hear, because you always hear this about like, oh yeah, my man was moving to this camp for time, and she just kept airing and parring it, and then eventually she was just yeah, you don't fuck it. Let's do a thing. What's the reason behind her saying?
Just got beaten into submission, basically.
It's funny you say that, but that's what he was talking about. I mean, to be fair, and it is that though, isn't it? It's that wearing them down to the point where they say, do you know what? Fuck it. This guy has tried so much, and the reasons could be good. It could be just like, do you know what? Like I appreciate his graft, and I'm about to give him a chance. Or it could be like, well, what else have I got to lose now? Shit.
I don't know why I thought about the is it the Jagged Edge song, or no, it's the next song where it's like we ain't getting no younger, we might as well do this. It reminds me of that, to you. It's just like, oh fucking hell,
let's get married.
Yeah, it's like
okay,
it's like the least romantic shit ever. But
I used to bang that song like
yeah, for real. To be fair. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I feel like if you ask like a lot of older couples, that's probably where like a lot of their relationships started.
What they've had.
No, in terms of like there was a lot of groundwork being done, and like you find the situation where, you know, the two people didn't necessarily kind of even like each other, or sorry, the woman might not have liked the man all that much to begin with, but because
that sounds like an arranged marriage.
No. But like, I think about my parents, for example. Like, they didn't necessarily kind of like, it wasn't like an immediate thing with them. But it
Did
was
that
like,
put in the work?
yeah, like it was like my dad putting in the groundwork.
Traditional.
Yeah, exactly, like traditional. So I've got no problem with the groundwork
That's the
aspect
same with
of
my
it.
dad.
Yeah,
Fuck-
but that's what I mean. Like I think a lot of the older generation, like that's the kind of the journey they had to go through. Like in the modern era, it's a bit different because I think you said earlier when it comes to dating apps, for example, like if someone's not, if you put the groundwork in and they're not feeling it, then you've got however many girls like a swipe away basically who you can kind of try it with instead.
Yeah, which is
Whereas
it.
I don't think they had the luxury of that
Yeah,
kind of back in the day.
which in this day and age is it's a double edged sword.
Yeah, 100%.
Unfortunately, it's like I obviously I do think that to an extent you should be making that effort and putting your first foot forward.
100%.
But I'm also I'm an avid believer in, if you put yourself forward and like they're playing around, they're being stupid, they're not reciprocating in the way that you think is how it should be. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Easy.
Thanks for watching 30 Years and Running. Please subscribe, comment, and share. See you next week. Peace.